Okay, simple little cheat sheet around a delegating activity. Now, this is for the delegator. Noun, one who delegates. All right, so this is, if you're the manager, you're the person delegating. This is a great little cheat sheet for you. Now, if you're watching this video, you've probably been through my delegation sort of workshop, if you will, where we define what delegate means and what it does not mean, and the kind of words that we often associate with delegating that have nothing to do with delegating or are very unhealthy assumptions around delegating. So that's some pre-work you should have done. A couple tips here before we go down through this. First of all, this is for the manager. This is a little hack. This is not for the delegatee, the person that we're delegating to. This is for you if you're delegating to other folks. Second little tip is this is meant to just keep you focused in the act of delegating, to help you kind of narrow in on the handful of tricks and tips in doing a good job delegating. Take these handful, what do we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 truths. There could be a bunch of other ones, but take these 9 truths and write them down on a little note card, a little cheat sheet somewhere. Laminate it or put it in your kind of personal playbook. And as you're delegating, you can refer to these. You can literally keep them on a little cheat sheet while you're delegating and just go down through and make sure it's meant to keep you on task, meant to keep you from kind of straying from the good ideas here in delegating. And again, this is meant to help you not misdelegate or kind of do some of the assumptive falsehoods that we use when we delegate. Okay? So take some time. This is tip number 4. Kind of take some time to, before you sit down to delegate a significant task, to kind of pregame it. Like go down through this list. This is before you sit down with your direct report. And go down through this list and do a little pregame. Go, okay, am I all set? Do I have this figured out? Do I have that figured out? Inside of here, you want to do things like, all right, what is our macro strategy? What are our core values? What are some of the big picture truths about the business that I need to have on the tip of my tongue before I do this? So pregame it, okay? And write down, make sure you have dialed in, nice and clear, nice and crisp, the basic truths of the business, because those come into play here. Now, here's our cheat sheet, delegator cheat sheet. So first of all, remember the spirit of the core values. So you've got these core values of your organization. You want to make sure that you're reinforcing those just as a kind of reminder to your direct report. Like, so, hey, Bob, I got this thing I need you to do. It's a big deal. This is this big project we need you to take care of. Remember, Bob, here's our core values. Here's how we work and how we act and how we think. And just make sure that this is delivered in the spirit of the core values, okay? That you're reinforcing those and that Bob's getting it and that you're getting it, etc. Okay, second checkbox here, or reminder or cheat sheet item is that this task needs to be delegated with purpose and on purpose. So it's very intentional. There's a clear sense of purpose. There's a clear sense of why this is a big deal. All right. Third is time frame. You need to give a very clear, very concise time frame. This needs to be done by date X, or within this period of time, or along this rhythmic path. But have you, and this is a checkbox, this is a reminder for you, have I given them a good time frame? Yes. Okay, cool. You need to be able to go down and check these. Next one, this is our 4th kind of cheat sheet item. Are the end results clear? Have you made it clear to your direct report what the end results need to be? of this task. Not just, hey, here's this task, can you get it done by period X? But more like, this is what this task needs to look like at the end. This is what I need it to accomplish. Here's, kind of the basic deliverables around it, or why it's a big deal too. This next point, this is point number 5, is it tied to our macro strategy? So you need to say to the direct report, listen, our basic strategy here with the business is X. And this task is tied to that. And here's how it's tied to it. Because oftentimes direct reports have, by nature of their position, little or no visibility around the basic structure, basic strategy, basic game plan of the business. Remember that their role is to inhabit a particular part of the business that's kind of down inside, and that's where they shine. And they have a very hard time seeing the big picture, but they need to. They need some exposure to it, and as you're delegating this task, let's say it's a significant 3-month task, like a rock of some sort, they need to be able to see how it impacts our strategy, or how it is tied to our strategy, or how it is going to impact our client, or impact our sales, or impact our reputation, or whatever. So tie it to that. Now, this doesn't take hours and hours, okay? You can do that really rapidly or really briefly and effectively. But that's the point, is have you done that? Yes or no? Next is this point, have you dispatched the resources that they need? Of course, that's time, that could be money, it could be relationships, it could be permissions, it could be materials of some sort, but have you dispatched what they need? And again, this is to keep you in your zone, doing a great job as a manager. Okay, did you give them what they need? Yes. Okay, great. Move to the next point. They need to see what's at stake. You need to be able to say to them, hey, here is what's at stake with this project that you're delegating. And that includes what's going to happen if you get it done really well, and what's going to happen if you don't. All right, so this is dispatching or attaching ownership to the results of this task. Now, you as the manager own whether your direct report is doing a good job and what to do about that. Now, your direct report owns, well, let me back up. Your direct report owns whether they're doing a good job. You own whether you've put them in that seat, and whether you've trained them well and are leading them well and are managing them well and creating clarity. And so you need to make sure that they get it, that they say, oh man, if I get this wrong, or if I screw it up, or if I, they've hired me to do this thing, if I don't, well, here's what's going to happen, or here's how this is going to go. And you need to make that clear. Now, this is not, you don't need to come charging in with this, big ultimatum here, but it needs to be clear that you're not going to own this project. They are. And it needs to be clear what are the outcomes if it gets dropped, or if it gets crushed in a good way, okay? Now, next step, next kind of question or reminder for you as the manager, is this task prioritized? As in direct report. So I'm talking to the direct report here. Listen, here's where I need this to fall in your prioritization kind of hierarchy. This is top tier, or is this kind of secondary or tertiary? You want to kind of be able to say, this is where I need this to go in your prioritization kind of sphere. Have you done that? Yes or no, as a manager? Okay. And then lastly, and I think this is a really important point, because if you're watching this, you've had some exposure to our kind of delegation workshop or delegating workshop. You need to be able to get them, they need to state this back. They need to kind of go, okay, boss, so here's what you need me to do, and here's when you need me to have it done, and here's why it's a big deal, and here's what's going to pull off, and here's how it's tied to where we're going. And they need to state it back. They need to kind of reflect it or feedback to you what you've just shared with them. This whole thing could take 10 or 15 minutes. And if this is a big 90-day project that's pretty significant with pretty significant impact, well, take some time. Take 15 minutes and have them kind of restate. And what's going to happen is you're going to go, oh yeah, they're not getting it, or they're not seeing this in part, or they're not catching that part, or I said that part, but I kind of misspoke, or I didn't put enough emphasis on that part. And as they read this back to you, or as they state it back to you, you're going to be able to catch some of that as a manager and clean it up. Okay, so there you go. Very simple delegator cheat sheet. Put that in your toolbox and make good use out of it. Mark Whitmore, head coach, Lodestone, True North.